Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What kind of slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. It is Wednesday, March 25th. It is Major League Baseball opening day, and I will have one play on the entire day, and it is in the baseball game. We'll go for it. Hopefully I get it right, man. There's some NIT going on, a little bit of hockey, and the majority of the action today is NBA, but I hate the NBA board. I hate it. There are a bunch of games, and I just don't even really see an angle that I want at all. So we're going to talk about it. Charles, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Let's just jump. Oh, well, I forgot. Last night, 0-1 last night. And, yeah, Seattle, I mean, stop doing that to me, man. Like, if you're going to be down 3 goals in the third period, just lose 4-1, dude. Like, do not tease me like that. They were losing 4-1 with like 10 minutes to go, and they tied the game and sent it into overtime, and they lost in a shootout. Come on, man. Like, just don't even pretend like you're gonna win that game when you're not, you know? That was bad, although I guess it made me look better. The fact that it was an underdog that took the game into overtime, which is pretty much what you want when you have an underdog. But, yeah, I'm not happy about that. Not happy about how things went last night. From a rooting perspective either, but let's get into today. We have NIT 2 games here in the quarterfinals, so a couple of the semifinals, one of the semifinal games I think is already decided. The teams that played yesterday are going to play each other, so we're getting to the Final Four in the NIT here now, and I don't even know where the Final Four is being played. I'll have to figure that out before it happens. So Tulsa and New Mexico both advanced last night, the 2 home favorites. And I was correct about both of those, except depending on what number you got, Tulsa might not have covered, even though they were winning that game 30-6 out of the gate, and then they only won by 4. I don't know what to tell you about that. Like, Wichita doesn't have an offense that's equipped enough to come back from a massive deficit like that. I don't know how that happened. One thing I forgot to mention is that Tulsa is actually without one of their best players, Green. So that was part of the reason. Because I was wondering, I was like, the line seemed too low on that game, but part of it was because of Green not being there. Dirty Sock, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right, I think his name is Green. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, over in the other semifinals here, or quarterfinals, excuse me, Illinois State is playing Dayton at Dayton, so the higher seed is still hosting these games here. Illinois State has already won a road game. They won at home in the first round against Kent State. Then they went to Wake Forest and beat them as a 7-point underdog or something like that. So that was a big upset for Illinois State. Now they got to do it again and pull off another upset if they want to advance here. Going to Dayton. Dayton, pretty decent team. Dayton has beaten Bradley and UNC Wilmington, both on the road. So crazy. This is Dayton's first home game of the tournament now. Very strange how that works. I think they are a 2 seed in their grouping or whatever, but they faced, I don't know how it works. But now they get an actual home game here, which is insane. This is a tough call. The money looks like it's coming in on Dayton a little bit. They're up to 7.5, 69% of tickets, 70% of the cash on Dayton here. Sorry, I got like seeds in my teeth from the oatmeal. Dude, I don't even know what the fuck these, like flax seeds or something. I don't know what these even are. I got it out. Anyway, 69% of tickets, 70% of the cash on Dayton. I mean, I don't have a good feel on the side in this game at all. I think Dayton should win the game. I mean, obviously, because they're a decent-sized favorite. I would probably go under in this game if I was going to do anything with it, just because both these teams play slow, and they're both a lot better on defense than offense. It looks like some of the money is coming in on the under, with that total being at 139.5. I don't have a good feel for it, though. And the other game is Nevada and Auburn. Nevada, this is going to be their first road game of the tournament. They beat Murray State and Liberty at home. Now they got to travel from Reno all the way to Alabama. Might be difficult, man, having not played a road game in this tournament. They haven't played a true road game in quite a while, and they have not played one in an unfamiliar environment probably since the non-conference schedule. So this is going to be weird for Nevada here. Now, motivationally, yeah, they're going to get up for this game because they get to play an SEC team here. Auburn looking like they're trying to win this thing, but they're coming off kind of a scare against Seattle. But you know me, I like that. When a team is coming off a bad performance as a big favorite and they barely got by, I think they tend to give you a better effort in the next game. So I actually like Auburn in this game. Auburn actually seems like they might have a little bit of a reason to play in this tournament too, to just, kind of prove people wrong. Like, hey, we belonged in the tournament. Like, SMU looked like shit. Like, we're better than they are. Let's win the NIT. Auburn, power ratings-wise, they are the best team in the NIT. They're minus 10 here. 50% of tickets, 54% of the cash coming in on the Nevada side. But I think I would lean towards laying it with Auburn in that one. And that's the college basketball for today. All right, we have NHL. I don't have a strong feel for like any of these games that I'm talking about here. There are two NHL games here. I don't like how the NHL is this lopsided, man, where it's like you get 15 games one day and 2 the next. Like, just give me like 7 and 8, you know what I mean, or whatever. I know that doesn't add up, but you know what I mean. Give me 8 and 9. My Boston Bruins are playing on a back-to-back, going to Buffalo on TNT, True TV, and HBO Max. Bruins had a terrible loss last night to Toronto. I thought it wasn't the greatest spot for them because they did have this Buffalo game upcoming. I thought the Bruins would use Korpisalo last night so they could save Swayman for the Buffalo game. They didn't do it. They played Swayman last night, and they didn't even win, which is really bad. I think they gave up an empty net goal at the end of that game. I think it was closer than the 4-2 final. But they're coming off a bad game at home, going out on the road. Potentially, last night they were looking ahead to this game anyway, so I think you will get an effort out of the Bruins. I know it's a back-to-back, but they did play, they had 2 days off prior to playing yesterday. So I actually kind of lean to the Bruins in this one, but part of that reason is also because Buffalo's returning home from a road trip to the Pacific time zone. They went out and they had a pretty successful road trip out in Vegas and California. Now they're coming back home from that. And yes, they've had 2 days off, so they do have a rest advantage here, sort of, but they had to travel cross-country, man. And getting back home and having to get back to home life or whatever, a lot of times you will be a bit distracted coming out of that type of situation. And they have Detroit on deck, which is maybe a bigger game than the Bruins. So I actually lean to the Bruins in this game. I don't want to do it, but I would lean that way. Buffalo's a big favorite, up to minus 196 for minus 178. 95% of tickets, 97% of the cash on Buffalo. So the money is indicating sort of on Buffalo, but it basically looks like Buffalo's going to be a huge public side here. You might be able to get the Bruins at like a puck line. That's a pretty good price there, and basically make it like a spread bet. Probably what I would do there. Rangers are at Toronto. Toronto also played yesterday. Like I said, they just beat the Bruins, which was a decent win. Toronto, I mean, they're just playing out the stretch at this point. I don't think they have any realistic expectations here. They're coming back home after 2 days on 2 games on the road, but only Ottawa, Boston. Now they're back home. They go right back out on the road after this. The Rangers have been an awful team recently, although the Leafs did actually lose at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers 6-2 on March 5th. One of the rare home wins for the Rangers. So I guess you could make the argument that Toronto's going to show up for this, but I don't know, man. After they got that win last night, the Rangers didn't play last night. Rangers lost at home, and it was an embarrassing performance on Monday where they only had 9 shots on goal, which was like a historic low in the NHL. Absolutely ridiculous. They might come into this game with a bit more firepower after that, like actually taking shots for once. So I actually like the Rangers here, which makes sense because they're on the road. They're minus 115, so the odds makers are telling you the Rangers are actually better than the Leafs here. Road favorite. 93% of the tickets, 99% of the cash on the Rangers. Not much to take away from that. It looks like there'll be a public side, but I think the Rangers are the correct side in that game. All right, I don't want to do it, obviously, but those are my thoughts on it. Yeah, I mean, I lean to the Bruins. I'm trying to not be biased about trying to form an opinion on what will happen in these actual games. NBA, a lot of games tonight. There's an ESPN doubleheader. There's like a dozen games, I think, here. First game up on the doubleheader is Atlanta at Detroit, which is probably not exactly what the schedule makers thought it was going to be because Detroit doesn't have Cade Cunningham, and I don't know when he's coming back, dude. He has a collapsed lung, which is not good, obviously. Detroit is going to be the 1 seed in the East, most likely, and you'll see when we do. I'll probably have Clint on for a bald episode to break down the playoff bracket for the NBA, but needless to say, I'm not going to have Detroit even winning the Eastern Conference, which if you listen to me, you know that I don't think they're actually the best team. So, but Atlanta, they've been hot. Atlanta on a huge hot streak. They had 1 loss in there, but they've been good so far. But if you look at this win streak, as I keep pointing out, basically all the wins are against bad teams. And the 1 loss in there was against the best team they played, which was Houston on the road. Now they're going to Detroit here on the road. That is a step up in class. And Atlanta just put up 146 points on Monday against Memphis. Maybe feeling high on themselves. Maybe they take Detroit more lightly than they would otherwise because Detroit doesn't have Cunningham right now. Although maybe you don't because Detroit has a really good record. Maybe you still pay attention to them. Detroit, I don't love the spot for them, though. They're coming off a big win over the Lakers, ending the Lakers' win streak. So I don't love that. But it is a home game for them. On ESPN. This is a very difficult game to figure out. Detroit's a 2.5-point favorite. It looks like the money is sort of indicating on Atlanta. 50% of tickets, 54% of the cash on the Hawks. My read on this was I would slightly lean to the Hawks here because I think the Pistons coming off the Laker game, that was kind of a big win, so that's a little bit worse of a spot, but I don't have a good read on that game at all. All right, Lakers at Indiana. Lakers just had a big game against Detroit, like I said, ended the Lakers' win streak. So the Lakers had won 9 games in a row, I think, and then lost in a close, big game, and now they're finishing a road trip here. I think it's a bad spot for the Lakers. They've been on the road for quite a while now. That was a big game. A big game alone, when it's a tough game, close game, that can hang you over. When you lose a win streak, you can also lose the same game twice, effectively, and that can hang you over as well. They also did just beat Indiana at home back on March 6th by 11, so they might not really take Indiana that seriously. Now, my problem with Indiana is that they're coming off a win that we had on the show the other day on Monday. I gave you guys Indiana against Orlando. Indiana got the outright win. I'm not totally interested in playing Indiana off of a big upset win where they're 13.5-point underdogs. I think they closed like 12.5. I can't quite get there with it. I lean to Indiana in this game, but I don't think I could do it, although they actually ended a 15 or 16 game losing streak with that win. So a lot of times when a team ends a losing streak, they will actually have new momentum, and it will actually break that losing momentum, and they'll play better here. So we do have a situation where the Lakers just lost a win streak. The Pacers just lost a losing streak. So both of those streaks ended, and that would actually be an indicator that you should look to the Pacers here. So I do. That's the way that I lean, but I can't get there with it. 70% of tickets, 68% of the cash on the Lakers. Double-digit favorite. They're 11.5 down to 10.5, it looks like here. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say about that, but I would lean towards taking the points with the Pacers. Chicago at Philadelphia. I think if I was going to play any game, it would actually be this one, which might sound crazy. I don't know. But Chicago's coming off 2 big games against Cleveland where they played really close. They had a few days off, and then they beat Houston. Pretty good win there. Now they play an injured Philadelphia team. Chicago, remember, they're not going anywhere this season, so they're going to only get up for like specific games where they might be seriously motivated. They're coming off one of those games. They got a huge win, and they have Oklahoma City on deck. So I actually think they might overlook Philadelphia. My concern might be that Philadelphia is probably going to be in the playoffs or at least in the play-in. So maybe Chicago does still want to play spoiler here. But on the other hand, they know that this Philadelphia team has nobody playing for them right now. And Philadelphia is actually in kind of a good spot because they returned home from a road trip, lost to the Thunder by 20 points. And a lot of times when a team has a bad game in their first game back home, they play better in the next game back home. They have to go out on the road next. They probably want to split this homestand if they can. They're still fighting, for playoff positioning and whatever. So Philadelphia does still have some motivation here. It looks like Joel Embiid might play. He'd be questionable, but if he plays, that actually makes me not like Philadelphia as much because, when you have these key players that come back from a long injury, he's been out for like a month. When that happens, a lot of times the team doesn't like gel right away, so I don't like that if he comes back. Even if he does, though, I think I probably still do lean to Philadelphia here. If I was going to play any game in the NBA, I actually think it would be this one. I would lay it with the 76ers. They're a 6-point favorite, 75% of tickets, 98% of the cash on the Sixers. Money looks like it kind of agrees with it. That is the way I would lean. I don't like the spot for the Bulls, and I just don't really see the motivation as much for the Bulls there. So those are my thoughts on that. One of the big games of the night, one of the best games, which is not part of the ESPN doubleheader, Oklahoma City at Boston. Really good game here. Oklahoma City beat the Celtics earlier this year, I think, in Oklahoma City. I think they only played once. It was a 2-point win. That actually wasn't that long ago. Both teams are going to get up for this. Oklahoma City's on this big win streak right now, but they're finishing a road trip here. They've won every game on the road trip. This is the most difficult game of the road trip, but they might be getting a little bit tired here by the end of the road trip. And I think the spot is actually a little better for the Celtics because they're coming off losing as a home favorite in a game they really should have won. I don't know how they had such a bad fourth quarter. Like, the Celtics were winning that game against the T-Wolves the whole time. It was the T-Wolves without Anthony Edwards. I don't know how that happened because the Celtics were winning that game with like 7 minutes left in the game, and they lose by double digits as a 9-point favorite with Anthony Edwards not playing. I think the Celtics just started looking ahead. They got completely caught there. I don't know what they did, but because that was kind of a bad performance, and I think they were looking ahead, they have 2 days off. They're staying at home. I think the spot is better for the Celtics here, man. So I would lean to the Celtics. The Thunder are a 2-point favorite, down from 3.5. It looks like 61% of tickets, 72% of the cash on Oklahoma City, but I don't agree with that cash percentage. I would lean towards the Celtics plus the points in that one. Oklahoma City's been really good on the road, though, 28-8. They're the best team in the NBA, so you got to be aware of that. Celtics, one of the best teams in the East, though, and they are good at home at the very least, 24-11. So I don't know if there are some injuries in play here. It looks like not really for Oklahoma City. Because the line dropped a little bit, but it wasn't because of injuries. There's not really anything going on there in the injury report. All right, Miami at Cleveland, which is not one of the ESPN games either. This is a decent game, though. Miami fighting for playoff positioning. So is Cleveland. Although, you know what? Cleveland might intentionally try to get the 4 seed because think about it. If Cleveland gets the 4 seed, they'll be at home in the first round. They'll probably win against, like, Toronto or some bad team like Atlanta, whatever. Then they'll get to play an injured Detroit team that isn't as good as people think they are, and they'll avoid the actual two best teams, the Celtics and the Knicks, and force them to play each other. And I don't like that as a Celtic fan, but that might be what the Cavs are doing here, man. And it's probably smart if they do that, but you got to be careful because you don't want to drop to the 5 seed either. The Cavs just beat Orlando last night, so they aren't a back-to-back here. They're staying at home. They had 2 days off before that, but they were returning home from a road trip. For the Heat, they got blasted by the Spurs in their last game, which was at home as well. Now they're going out on the road. They did not play yesterday. I think the spot is better for the Heat. They're on a 5-game losing streak right now. Lost to some good teams in there. A couple of the games were pretty close. Yeah, I'm going to lean to the Heat in this one. The Cavs are a 3-point favorite. 63% of tickets, 76% of the cash on the Cavs, though. So the money is indicating on the Cavs. I don't agree with it. Yeah, I think Heat are the right side in that game, but don't really have that strong of an opinion. But you know me, when I see a team that just got totally blown out at home and now they're starting a road trip, I do like to look towards that team. San Antonio at Memphis. San Antonio was the team that blew out the Heat, like I said. I mean, they're on a nice win streak right now, 6-game win streak. Maybe they're feeling a bit high on themselves after putting up 130 points in 2 straight games, playing this injured Memphis team. It doesn't have a whole lot going on for Memphis. And San Antonio doesn't have anything up next, though. They only have Milwaukee. Memphis coming off an embarrassing loss where they lost by almost 40 points to Atlanta. So you do have a San Antonio team off a blowout win, Memphis off a blowout loss. I like to look towards that team that's off the blowout loss. I know they're returning home from a road trip, but it was only Charlotte, Atlanta. Not a big deal there. Very quick trip, close geographically. Likely they'll get up for a game after they got totally embarrassed by Atlanta. Now they're playing a Spurs team that I think you'll get up for. I would lean to the Grizzlies plus the points here. Spurs are minus 17. Up from 15.5. 86% of tickets, 95% of the cash on San Antonio. But yeah, I would take the points. San Antonio will be a public side there. Washington at Utah. This is a game, 2 teams with absolutely nothing to play for. And you know what I talk about. These games tend to turn into scrimmages. And Washington coming off giving up 145 points to the Knicks on Sunday. So they will be at least rested here. They're on a really long losing streak. Maybe they will try to show up for a game. I wouldn't want to try to handicap the side in this game, though. Utah just gave up a ton of points as well and scored a ton of points themselves as well, losing to Toronto. A game where I said the over was in play in that game, I'm pretty sure. So I was correct about that. That was very easy if you played the over in that game. Utah, they actually score a lot of points at home. They're staying at home here. Now, I know there's some rest involved here, and rest does tend to lend itself towards unders a little bit because the offense can come out a little bit rusty. But I don't see these teams playing really intense defense here, you know what I mean? You have a situation where 2 teams, they have nothing to play for. They're going nowhere. Guys don't want to get hurt out there, you know what I mean? Even though a lot of these guys are not even generally starters here. But because of that type of game, I think the over is in play in this game as well. Again, I just don't think you'll get really intense defense in this one. The money is coming in on the over, but it's already up to 240.5, so you've lost 4.5 points of value on that number already. But I think the over is maybe worth consideration there. But you kind of missed the boat on it, though. These totals move really fast, man, unfortunately, because if I was more of a totals player, I don't know like how I would even do this show, to be honest. Or you'd have to just pick and choose, you know, the games that I give out, although you probably do that anyway. Houston at Minnesota is the other ESPN game, which, you know, this is a good game too. I don't know if Anthony Edwards is back yet, though. Houston is coming off that bad loss to Chicago. I think maybe they were looking ahead to this game. They were coming off a big win over Miami too, so I recommended, Chicago was a lean that I gave out on Monday on the show. I gave out Indiana as an actual play, but I liked Chicago in that game as well. I was correct in both cases, both outright winners. Maybe I should have had both on my card, but trying to be selective. Now, Houston, should be in bounce back mode, and you kind of explain why they lost that game because they were in a sandwich spot. Minnesota coming off beating Boston on the road is a huge upset. So I think Minnesota's not in the greatest spot here. They've had a couple of days off. It was only a single game road trip, but that was a big win for them. They got Detroit on deck. Now, I don't think they're really going to overlook Houston, but Houston hasn't exactly lived up to their potential this year. Now, this is an ESPN game, so the team might get up for it because they're playing on ESPN. Anthony Edwards is still out, by the way. I like Houston in this game, though. Houston is a 2-point favorite. Now, the money doesn't agree. The money's coming in on the T-Wolves. I don't really understand that. I think, again, we see Houston, I think, in a bounce-back spot. T-Wolves coming off a big upset road win. Yeah, it would be Rockets or pass for me in this one. 58% of the tickets on the Rockets, 58% of the cash on the T-Wolves. So, yes. Bald, yeah, that I'm assuming we'll be able to do that. You bet all of them. The leans, I would be careful with that. Like, I don't know. It's probably difficult to gauge how strongly I feel about certain games. Like, if I say this one, like, almost makes my card, then you at least know that I do feel pretty strongly about it. Other than that, I don't know how to gauge it, really. Dallas at Denver. Dallas coming off 2 overtime losses against the Clippers and Golden State. Dallas, I mean, at least that tells you they're putting in effort right now, and I think they will in this game because Denver is a good team. They're a playoff team. Going into high elevation, maybe not the easiest thing for teams to do, but Denver hasn't been that good at home this year. Denver's coming off a nice road win over Phoenix last night, so they're on a back-to-back. They're playing a third game in 4 days with travel between all of them. You know, I actually would probably lean to Dallas in this one. I don't love that they're coming off 2 straight overtime games, but Nuggets are already down from 14.5 to 12 here. Don't see the percentages yet. It's a pretty high total, though, in the 2 4 days. So if you're taking a bunch of points, it's a little bit less tempting with a total like that because the Nuggets, they score a lot and they're not that good on defense. But I think I would lean to Dallas there. Denver, like I said, is actually not that good at home. 21-13. They should be better than that at home. Mavs are not good on the road, though. 9-25. Pretty bad. But you don't need them to win if you play them to cover the spread there. Brooklyn at Golden State. This game is so ugly. Brooklyn just got absolutely destroyed by Portland on Monday. Embarrassing loss. So they might actually try to bounce back and play better after that, after getting killed by 35 points. Golden State may still be a team that will attract, your attention a little bit. For Golden State, they just beat Dallas in overtime, but they're returning home from a long road trip. And you know what I say? They've been on the road since March 15th. They went to the East Coast. They crossed the country. I always talk about it. When a team returns home from a long road trip like that, I think they could be distracted. They have to get back to home life. They might not focus on their opponent, especially a bad opponent like Brooklyn. So I do lean to Brooklyn in this game, even though Golden State is coming off kind of an escape against Dallas where they probably should have won that game more easily. I lean to the Nets here. Warriors down from 13 to 12. I don't actually want to do it, but that would be my lean there. Then we have Milwaukee at Portland. Milwaukee without Giannis, probably for the remainder of the season at this point. Milwaukee just got killed by the Clippers. So they might actually try to bounce back from that, coming off a blowout loss, trying to maybe split the road trip here. They do have San Antonio on deck when they come back home on Amazon Prime, so maybe that is a bigger game. But I think maybe they do want to try to split the road trip here, 2-2, coming off an embarrassing loss. Portland is coming off crushing Brooklyn, which I just mentioned. So and that was a return home spot too. Brooklyn not putting in a lot of effort in these games right now, it looks like. Portland was also coming off a game against Denver, too, so they were coming out of elevation, and it was a back-to-back. It was a horrible spot, and they still won by 35 points. They're back at home here. They might be feeling a little high on themselves after that win, though, over Brooklyn. So I actually do kind of lean towards the Bucks here. The Blazers are up from 10 to 12.5 here, though. Pretty low total in the 220s. I think I would probably lean towards taking the points of the Bucks. And I assume we're not going to see Giannis anytime soon, but I'm not 100% sure of that. It looks like he's potentially coming back in their next game. Yeah, I kind of doubt it. For the Bucks, I would pay attention to these injuries, though. Portis looks like he's injured. He's questionable, so keep an eye on that because he's one of their better players. Kuzma, we don't know about him either. Those guys are both questionable, and those are both decent players on the Bucks, so some guys to keep an eye on there. The Blazers, Jeremy Grant, kind of a key player for them. He's questionable as well. So a lot of questionability in that game. Toronto at the Clippers is the last game on the board, or at least the last game on the schedule. I don't know if it's the last game on the board. It is. Usually they try to keep it pretty chronological, at least. Toronto just beat Utah, like I said, in Utah. They're coming out of elevation now. They're playing a third game in 4 days, fourth game in 6 days, fifth game in 8 days, all in different cities. That's not easy to do. Going out to the Pacific Coast now off of a pretty satisfying win. Now, Toronto is playing for, playoff positioning right now. The Clippers, I think, are as well, though. Clippers look like they're in the play-in scenario right now, I think. They just returned home from a road trip, and they got a blowout win against Milwaukee. They're staying at home, though, and it's their second game back home. So I think the spot is a little bit better for the Clippers here. That would be my opinion. I would lean to the Clippers in this one. They're -4, 67% of tickets, 94% of the cash on them. Do with that info what you want, man. And then we do see the Nets are taking some money right now, by the way. 50% of tickets, 62% of the cash on the Nets. So that's happening. And it looks like the money is coming in on the Nuggets in that Nugget game right now. But, yeah, I don't really see it in that one. All right. Baseball, opening day on Netflix. We have one game. This is going to be the best bet as well. We're going to baseball where I have more ways of playing these baseball games because I get involved in totals, and that's what we're doing here. It's going to be one of my boring totals. You know what we're doing here. It's the Yankees-Giants. It's at San Francisco. It's a pitching-friendly park. Both teams have their aces on the mound here. It's early season. It's March. It's not exactly going to be cold or anything, I don't believe, but it's a night game. It gets cooler at night. It's going to be 56, so that's cool-ish. So I like it, man. When it's a low temperature, it keeps the balls down a little. Keeps the balls down. Keeps them low, which means fewer home runs. It's a pitcher-friendly park anyway. And early in the season, the pitchers have the advantage because the hitters don't have their timing right yet usually. So usually you see better pitching early on, and we have both aces on the mound because it's the first game. So you know what that lends itself to. We're going under in this game, under 7. 7 is a key number in baseball because you need to break the 3-3 ties. So the odd numbers are all key numbers in baseball. So the lowest total that I will go under in a full game is 7. I will pretty much never go under 6.5, even though I know that's a lot of handicappers will tell you shouldn't look at it that way because the books will post a 6.5 obviously they intentionally do it to try to get you to not play the under, but I still don't want to do it because 7 is such a key number. I just stay away from it, even if I would still lean to an under, you know what I mean? But I think we can get the 7 on this. If you can't find that, I think a first 5 inning under is a fine approach in this game as well, but you're looking at under 3.5, I think, which is still okay, I think, for the first 5 innings. The under 3.5, I think, still works fine. When it gets to 3, that's where I start going, I don't want to play that first 5 under. But the one reason why it might make sense to go first 5 instead of full game, besides the total potentially dropping below 7, would be because the Yankees' bullpen sucks. That's the one thing here. But San Francisco has a very good bullpen, at least if we're looking at what these bullpens did last year. And the bullpens haven't changed. Well, the Yankees' bullpen has changed quite a bit, but when their bullpen is bad already, I don't think that's a bad thing if they shook it up and changed things. So I think we can go with it full game, and we can counter the questionable Yankees bullpen with the fact that I think both starters are going to do well here, and the fact that the Giants bullpen hasn't changed much from last year, and it was good last year. So I think we're fine doing it this way. And And as far as what these pitchers look like, as far as I always show the matchup stats and whenever. Max Fried, I mean, he had a good season last year. Obviously, we know this. He wasn't as good on the road, but I'm willing to go with it anyway because it's a pitcher-friendly park here. And if you look at his numbers against the Giants, the other good thing about this is you remember the Giants' offense last year sucked. So that's the other thing. We know the Yankees' offense is good, but the Giants' offense is bad. So we have that going for us as well. Max Fried against this Giants lineup, which I think this is up to date because the Giants have Harrison Bader now, so they did add him, but he's bad against Max Fried. He's 2 for 11 lifetime, often with no extra base hits, 5 strikeouts and a walk. So he's the guy they added. Yeah, whatever. Devers actually hits Fried pretty well, but whatever. Fried overall against the Giants lineup, they're 21 for 82 off him lifetime. 256 batting average allowed. That's pretty low. 669 OPS allowed. That's low as well. Doesn't allow a lot of extra base hits to them. 26 strikeouts and 4 walks. So Fried has done really well against them in the past for the most part. So I like that. The matchup looks good for him. Logan Webb is pitching for the Giants. He was their ace last year, put up a good season. His whip was a little higher than I'd like to see, but he was also good at home. He was better at home than on the road, which a lot of pitchers are. Against the Yankees, believe it or not, he does actually have pretty good numbers in a large sample of 161 at-bats. Unfortunately, Ryan McMahon, who the Yankees, oh God, that's a bad Freudian slip. The Yankees got Ryan McMahon last year from the Colorado Rockies, so he's very familiar with Webb and does hit him well. But other than that, the overall numbers that the Yankees have against him are not that good. 161 at-bats, 42 to 12 strikeout walk ratio doesn't impress me that much. Not a lot of strikeouts really, and too many walks, kind of like that ratio's not good, but he's held him to a 255 batting average and 691 OPS. So those are not bad numbers really. So I think we get a good pitching matchup and a good scenario here for the under. Like I said, unders early on in baseball because of the cool weather and the hitters not being totally, well-timed yet. And sometimes they're not familiar with the pitching yet and whatever. Pitchers usually hit the ground running. Like, they're usually just ready to go because they pitch in spring training, obviously, so they're there. I know the hitters hit in spring training too, but the pitchers have the advantage early on, typically. So that is what we're going with here. There's a reason why the total's as low as it is. And as far as the side is concerned, the money is on the Yankees side. They're minus 117. 81% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the Yankees. I wouldn't play the Yankees in this one, man. Again, I'm banking on it being a low-scoring, pretty close game here where either team could get the win here. But the Yankees, they're going to be the public side. I mean, it's opening day. It's a big event on Netflix, and the public is going to come in on the Yankees because they're the Yankees. They're almost always a public side because of their name, but also everybody knows they're one of the best teams in baseball, and they hit. So that's what the public wants. They want offense, and the Giants don't give them that. The Giants have no offense, but the Giants do typically have the better pitching. Like, at least when we look at what happened last year, the Giants had better pitching than the Yankees did, especially in the bullpen area. But we do have two good starters here on the mound. I think Fried is probably the better of the two starters here. So the Yankees have a little bit of an edge in the starting pitching matchup here. Yankees obviously have the hitting edge here, but San Francisco, I'm going to give the bullpen edge here. And, yeah, I just don't think there's a huge edge one way or the other in the looking at the side here. But, yes, we're going with the under in that game. And that's going to do it, man. That's the show for today. Yes, sir. Tomorrow there's going to be more baseball, so I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm hoping the show's not too long tomorrow, but there's going to be a lot of hockey tomorrow as well, and decent amount of NBA because it's Friday. It's Thursday. What am I saying? Tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, so I don't know. There's a handful of NBA games tomorrow, though. I'll have to figure out what I want to do with it. And, of course, the Sweet 16 gets underway tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to have any plays, though, in college basketball, but we'll see. That's going to do it. Judge, he's a good hitter. I think he chokes in the playoffs, but he's obviously going to have a good regular season. It's a long season. It's like impossible for him not to have a good season. Maybe not exactly like it might not totally live up to the Judge standards or whatever, because he's one of the best hitters in baseball, but he'll have a good season unless he gets injured. But, in the playoffs, he tends to not do that well. Playoffs, all right, that's it. Learn to Toad on Twitter, Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe, reply to the channel here, boost this thing up. We got, we're on audio as well, Apple, Spotify, all the things. We're on all the platforms, so listening over there helps as well. Reviewing helps as well. Covered in Uke on YouTube, my Uke channel, you can check that out. Patreon.com/LearnToToad, and I do not have much going on the Patreon. I apologize. I need to get more stuff. Maybe I should do some of my other content. I don't know. I've been thinking of adding other pop culture opinion related content, maybe Toad's takes. I don't know. I got to figure that out, but because I have opinions and I like to talk about them. So if people want to listen, maybe that's what I'll do. And of course, Losercast, we had a new episode last night, so you can go check that out. It should be on the YouTube channel there. Dream chasing in van. What's Dream chasing Ivan. I'm sorry, man. I was like, you're in a van? What? I am on the under in that game. That's my only play of the day, by the way. The under 7 in the Yankees-Giants game. I'm not going to try to force a play just because it's the opener, but I do actually legitimately like the under in that game. And that is the only game that I like. Correct. I don't have a good opinion on the side in that one. So, I actually kind of probably lean to the Giants because, me, I like to fade the public. But I like the under in that game. Or under first 5 innings, I think is a good way to look at it as well. But I'm going to the full game under the key number 7. And hopefully we can take on the bad Yankees bullpen, and hopefully it'll still work out. Early season, good pitching matchup. So that's what we're doing. Yeah, I think that's it, man. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be a bigger show tomorrow, a longer show, because there's just more going on. Tomorrow is basically the first full day of Major League Baseball, so it's going to get a little bit crazy, but that's going to do it. I didn't have a great baseball season last year, so I want to turn it around because I usually do really well. When we get April, May, I usually really do well in NBA playoffs. NHL playoffs tend to do pretty well as well. So I'm looking forward to all that, and I usually do well in baseball around that time too, so hopefully we can do that as well. But that's going to do it. Peace.